Hi, Matt. It's Paula.
Hey Paula, how are you?
And well, thanks. How about you?
Yeah, good. Can't complain.
I don't think so. You guys have seats over there.
I'm Carly.
Hey, Carly.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, good to meet you.
I missed last meeting, but
Sweet.
welcome. This is my first meeting.
Woohoo. Me too. Didn't have a little fancy name tag.
I know, I was like,
So it looks like Cody will be joining us via Zoom because he's not feeling well. And neither is Maria.
my gosh, I just got over my cold, so I don't, there's.
Feeling better now?
I know. You know, it always starts with allergies.
I blame everything.
Right.
Allergies.
Totally.
This is the first line of defense.
Exactly.
Mine were allergies. And then I found out my husband tested positive. So this was months and months.
Right.
Apparently I had it. So,
Ah.
but that was just bad.
Yeah. Don't be mad at that.
Not at all.
Is there a restroom?
There is, if you go straight across the hall towards the Veterans Museum, there's one on the left. That's the other.
Alex.
Oh my gosh, no one's gonna see your feet.
I thought, well, I better try. Ooh, fancy. Right.
Have the password in there, you just need to hit join. You must be in this attachment. The clicker's not turned on yet.
It's going well. How about you?
I said this attachment.
How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Family's doing okay?
Everybody's doing this tonight.
Good. Glad to hear that.
You'll hear this. Did you know Cody's not feeling well tonight?
Just heard that.
So, we're bracing ourselves. Moved on. We're
So I did see that on LinkedIn.
yeah.
Hmm.
She's working at the state now, and she started the day after she left.
So I just saw on LinkedIn, but I saw both positions. I'm like, oh, maybe this is a committee appointment. Optimistically.
It just means we're bracing ourselves for workload.
Right.
She's doing a lot of things, projects that we have now. So. She was leading.
We're gonna start recording, so don't say anything you.
No promises. Paula.
Brave putting me on public record. Do you happen to have a paper copy of the minutes?
Minutes?
Or like the agenda rather?
You want me to go make you a copy?
I would really appreciate it.
Yes. And a lot of it is minutes. We had two.
I know.
Long meetings.
I know. I couldn't believe the last meeting was the 17th.
Part of those.
Yeah. Was that your first meeting, the 17th?
The March one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this is the longest break we've ever had. It's like, I mean, last summer we had a lot because there was like a deadline. It was like every week, we had it like an every 2 weeks we had. But then there was like a long time that we'd only meet once a month. But then nothing. And yeah, it was very strange. I was like, this is so weird.
I know I kept thinking I like missed the email.
Right. Like, oh no, Paula's never,
Paula will not let you.
she never misses. I'm like reading these, I'm like, she is very good at her job.
Real, like, those are minutes.
Mhm. She makes me sound good too. Like I was reading, I was like, I actually said.
I'm so good at that.
Yes. Yeah, no, not at all. But yes,
Baby step in our way.
exactly.
They put me too close to this.
I close YouTube. But on the side, it used to be. Yeah, thanks. Bye.
There's great.
No, it's not a hard time. Everybody's laughing. Pretty dull.
I like you lower my seat and touch the ground.
No, there's also like a footrest usually.
I need one of those. Yeah. Always make me feel like a little kid with my feet. I know.
Especially-
Oh no, yeah.
You're just-
Give you the color one. So I'll to the. It's better. All right. And we left it like unshuffled cards.
I got a chance to look over it, but now I got it in front of me.
Yeah. Thought it was like clean around. It's like- 'cause normally I haven't had it like this, right? I joined one of these. I'm used to-
Having the screw.
I have my monitors, right?
Yeah.
So I have the
That's-
agenda on one monitor, meeting the other. I'm like,
No,
oh, how am I gonna do this?
I'm in person. I was like, I should have a computer. I don't feel, it's like a security blanket.
It's like, wait, how do I download?
Commissioner Popoff, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello?
Okay. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Hi, everyone that is at the City Hall in person. I'm sorry I couldn't make it this evening. I'm not feeling so hot all of a sudden. So, but I took a COVID test and it's not COVID, so it's something else. We do have a quorum, so we're going to get this show on the road if that's okay. I will call this meeting to order, May 19th, 2022. Paula, may we please do the roll call?
Ellie Aparicio.
Here.
Cody Cornett.
Here.
Maria Pena is absent. Mark Popoff.
Here.
Martella.
Excellent. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Excuse me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. The approval of the agenda. If everyone's okay with it, I'd like to move items 7 and 8 to the end of the meeting if possible. So that way we can just kind of get to the business and then do some of the more general update stuff at the end. All in favor of, or does anyone have any objections to that?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
All in favor of moving item 7 staff comments and 8 commissioner comments questions to the end of the meeting after legislative public hearings, raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Aye. Excellent. So the agenda is approved. Approval of minutes from February 17th and March 17th. We're doing both.
Excuse me, Chair
Yes.
Cornett.
Yep.
I need a motion and a second
Okay.
to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay. May I please have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Nice second.
Excellent. Thank you. The approval of the amended agenda has been motioned and seconded. Do we have to vote on that again?
No.
Okay. Moving on to the approval of the minutes. For February 17th and March 17th. As long as everyone has read those minutes and approves, may we please have a motion to approve those minutes from both meetings and a second.
A motion to approve both the February 17th and March 17th minutes as they are.
Okay, I second that motion. All in favor of approving the February 17th and March 17th minutes, raise your right hand and say aye.
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 Excellent. Next item is public comment. I'd love to be in the room to see if there's any public. But during this portion of the meeting, anyone may speak on any subject that does not later appear in the agenda. 5 minutes per person will be allowed. Is there anyone in that room besides us?
Not even Ferris Bueller.
Okay.
Ruler.
All right, we will continue on then. Item 9A, legislative public hearing. Excuse me, real quick. Okay, now is the time specified for the Planning Commission to conduct a public hearing. The purpose of the public hearing is to consider the following matter. Approval of zoning ordinance amendment application 105-22 to amend the Dallas Municipal Code, Title 10, Land Use and Development. The amendment purpose is to bring the city's stream corridor overlay zoning regulations into compliance with the state required standards. The substantive criteria upon which the Planning Commission will base its decision in this matter are contained in the Dallas Municipal Code, Title 10, Land Use Development. A public hearing is required by law and certain rules apply. First and foremost, you must be recognized by the chair in order to speak and present testimony. When recognized by the chair, please proceed to the microphone and state your name and mailing address for the record. The hearing is required by law to be recorded. Generally, the public hearing procedure is as follows. Prior to the public hearing, a determination will be made of the qualifications of the commission members and allow for challenges from the audience. I will open the public hearing with the staff report. The purpose of the staff report at this point is to further identify the applicable criteria of the case being considered and to provide background information about the case. After the staff report, we will hear testimony from proponents, those persons in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from the opponents, those not in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from anyone else who wishes to offer testimony or ask questions. Then, to honor the right of rebuttal, we'll again hear from those in favor of the application. To expedite the hearing, the commission members may ask questions of persons as they testify. When this process has been concluded, we will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. During the hearing, some important standards apply. First, those who testify must hold their testimony to the decision criteria. As in all land use hearings, there are a complete set of rules, procedures, and criteria you must follow. Second, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission members and the parties an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Third, the failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with details specific enough to allow the city to respond to the issue precludes any action for damages in the circuit court. Fourth, prior to the conclusion of the public hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional evidence, arguments, or testimony regarding the application. If such a request is made, the law states the commission must grant the request by either continuing the hearing to a time and date at least 7 days from the date of the initial hearing, or the record must be kept open for a period of at least 7 days. These are the rules. Are there any questions? Nope. Okay. Moving along. Have any members of the commission had any ex parte contacts, conflicts of interest, or bias which would prevent you from rendering an impartial decision on this matter? Commissioner Aparicio, any ex parte contacts? No. Nick?
No.
Okay, sorry, I'm spaced on your last, Portello. Thank you. Commissioner Portello says no, thank you. Commissioner Popoff?
No.
I have not had any ex parte contacts either. Does anyone in the audience wish to challenge the qualifications of any members of the commission? No one in the audience. The public hearing is now open. May we please have the staff report?
Chair Cornett, I'm going to share a screen.
Okay.
Good evening. We had an opportunity in March at our March meeting to discuss these possible land use development ordinance amendments. I'll give you a little bit of history. So in the fall, the Planning Commission had a hearing to consider what we call the total maximum daily load implementation plan. That is a big, long phrase. What that plan was, we were given a mandate by the Department of Environmental Quality, let me back up so you can see on the screen, to have some code amendments that would in place that would better protect our stream corridors. So it's a state mandate. And the plan also includes some requirements to improve our education programs for riparian protection, evaluate our public infrastructure along those streams, and also host some restoration activities where we would do tree plantings or other channel improvements to better protect migrating fish in our city. So, and lastly, in the action that's before you now is consideration of amendments to better protect our riparian corridors. So that's our history. You made a recommendation to the Planning Commission in the fall, and then the City Council adopted that plan in November. So our municipal code implements and regulates what's called a stream corridor overlay. And basically what that does for us, we have a map section, which I'll show you in a minute, but we have 3 streams inside of our city and we protect 50 feet from setback from the top of bank in the stream corridor. And what that does is try to prevent development in that area in order to preserve riparian vegetation and keep adequate shading around the stream and just keep urban development outside of those areas. So there are some words up there that says this overlay complies with the safe harbor provisions of the Oregon Administrative Rules. That's the OAR. What are safe harbor provisions? The way I look at those is, it sounds like something in the ocean, but it's actually, I call it like the minimum that you need in order to comply with state law. Usually the state will give you some rules that you can comply with at a very minimum. And then if you want to do your own thing as a city and have your own corridors, you can map them yourself and develop some regulations that would maybe be a little bit more restrictive than those safe harbor regulations. In short, that's what that is. So what we found is that the rules that are in place today actually don't comply with our safe harbor provisions. And so we're needing to bring that into compliance. So all new development needs to be located outside the stream corridor overlay. We do have that 50-foot setback that I mentioned earlier. There are two ways in the code currently that it can be modified. So if you want to modify it, you have to come in and apply for that. And there's what's called a stream corridor setback modification and a hardship adjustment. And we are proposing as these code amendments to modify those two exceptions to bring into compliance with state law, but also to better protect our streams. So we're not amending the stream corridor itself. We're amending the way you can modify it if you want to, which is a discretionary application. It's, we really have to do this in order to comply with state law. So I think I've already described what this is. Let me show you some maps next. This is a stream corridor overlay. This isn't perfect, but gives a general idea of where the overlay is. We recommend that applicants, if they need to get it mapped because this is an imperfect mapping solution, but it's the best we have for now. If we want to show, if people want to pull this up on the county's system that's accessible to all citizens, they can see this and generally see where the corridor sits on their property, though it may not be accurate. We have Chenoweth Creek. We have Mill Creek, which runs through the center of our city. Chenoweth is on the north or the west side of our city, depending on the direction. And then 3 Mile Creek sits to the east and I guess sits to the east of our city. So we have 3 proposed updates for you today. And the first one is we want to entirely remove the modification, the setback modification that gives me the authority at the staff level to grant a reduction. And that is inconsistent with state law. And also it just removes that. It makes all of these decisions those that would require a public hearing, which we think is more appropriate given our need to protect our riparian resource. So that's the first modification. The second one is to reduce the hardship adjustment possibility, to reduce it from 67% to 40%. So that would allow a reduction of up to 20 feet for under certain circumstances and under compliant with certain criteria. And then lastly, we have this section that allows 3,000 square feet of impervious surface within a 50-foot setback if it is still considered impossible to build after considering the effects of hardship adjustment. So we're proposing that that come down from 3,000 to 500 square feet of impervious surface. 3,000 is a pretty big footprint. And what are the next steps? We will ask you this evening to make a recommendation to the city council. And then from there, we will take it to, you'll make a recommendation to city council and we'll take it to a hearing at city council on June 27th. So we look forward to any discussion you have this evening, and I'm happy right now to answer any questions you might have.
looks like there's a fourth proposed update also for amending the 5.130.020 to include the following definitions.
Oh, yes, thank you. That did not show up in the PowerPoint, so let's get that. Thank you very much.
No worries.
You read your packet there. I'm impressed with that. Thank you for doing that. And thank you for. Can you show me can you tell me which page that's on?
It just says 7 of 8. It's like the very last page basically of the packet, I think.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Proposed update number 4, which is on page 7 of 8, the last page, the last couple of pages in the packet. It includes some definitions. We want to incorporate these definitions into the code, and it's the definition for designated management agency, management strategies, performance monitoring, pollutants, and total maximum daily load, and lastly, water quality management plan. And then we also have some other definitions for fish habitat, riparian area, riparian corridor, and so on. I could go on through the whole list. But again, these definitions, if we adopt them, will bring us into compliance. They'll be consistent with state law.
Okay, thank you, Alice. Do the commissioners have any questions as that staff report has been wrapped up?
Stop sharing the screen if you're finished. There you go.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the staff report. Does anyone wish to testify in favor of the application? If so, please state your name and address for the record. Okay. Those in favor of the application will provide testimony. That's a note that I'm not supposed to read to you. That's for me. Does anyone wish to testify in opposition to the application? If so, please state your name and address for the record. Okay, thank you. Does anyone who wish to testify that are not in favor, opposition, or that would like to ask questions? Okay. Moving right through these. Only needed is if the commissioners don't have any more questions for the staff, is the commissioner ready for deliberations? Commissioner Portella, are you all ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Aparicio, all set already?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And Commissioner Popoff?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, the public hearing is now closed. I'll go around the table here as well. This is all pretty straightforward. It's something that we've talked about often, maybe not often, but we've talked about it before. We know that it's been coming down the pipeline. I don't have any questions or thoughts on this. Commissioner Portella?
No, I'm all good.
Commissioner Aparicio?
No.
Commissioner Popoff?
No.
Okay. Is the commission ready for a motion? And if so, please use the motion language that is at the beginning of this section to make the motion to.
It's on page 5 of 5, so it's the last 2 pages of your packet.
Yeah.
Last 4 pages of your packet.
Under staff recommendation.
That's correct. And you could, the motion language, I'll just read it to you. Move to recommend to the city council the approval of zoning ordinance amendment number 105-22, adopting code amendments attached herein and adopting findings included in this staff report with any additional changes from the commission at the May 19th, 2022 hearing, which you didn't have any, so we can strike that language.
Okay, I motion to recommend to the city council the approval of zoning ordinance amendment number 105-22, adopting the code amendments attached herein and adopting findings included in this staff report at the May 19, 2022 hearing. May I have a second, please?
Second.
That motion has been made and seconded. All in favor of approving this motion and moving it to city council, raise your right hand, say aye.
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 I think Commissioner
Commissioner
Popoff.
Popoff has left.
We need him. Or no,
Oh, you need him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he lost his connection or chose to.
Okay. We needed him for literally 3 seconds. 3 more seconds, we would have had it.
So close.
Should we move on to something else in the interim? I don't want to interrupt Matt Hasty's presentation.
I'm fine. I don't want waiting.
Okay. Sorry, Matt.
No worries.
Oh, there he is. Starting now.
We lost contact there. I have kind of a jittery reception right now.
That's okay.
Are you still there?
Yes, we are still here. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So we were just approving and voting on the motion to recommend to city council the stream corridor resolution. You were here for the motion, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll just pick back up where that voting left off. All in favor of recommending to city council the motion to approve the zoning ordinance amendment number 105-22, raise your right hand and say aye.
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 All not in favor, say nay. Okay, and none will be abstaining. Excellent. That was that item. So we're moving on to what should have actually came first, and I apologize, I did those out of order. This is CPA 53-22 City of the Dalles request approval of comprehensive plan goal 9 revisions. Matt, bear with me just a moment while I open up this. Okay. Now is the time specified for the Planning Commission to conduct a public hearing. The purpose of this public hearing is to consider the following matter. Approval of comprehensive plan amendment application 53-22 to amend comprehensive plan goal 9. The purpose is to amend the Goal 9 policies and adopt the employment opportunities analysis and employment buildable lands inventory documents to the Dallas Comprehensive Plan, Volume 2, background documents. The substantive criteria upon which the Planning Commission will base its decision in this matter are contained in the Dallas Municipal Code, Title 10, Land Use Development. A public hearing is required by law and certain rules apply. First and foremost, you must be recognized by the chair in order to speak and present testimony. When recognized by the chair, please proceed to the microphone and state your name and mailing address for the record. The hearing is required by law to be recorded. Generally, the public hearing procedure is as follows. Prior to the public hearing, a determination will be made of the qualifications of the commission members and allow for challenges from the audience. I will open the public hearing with the staff report. The purpose of the staff report at this point is to further identify the applicable criteria of the case being considered and to provide background information about the case. After the staff report, we will hear testimony from proponents, those in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from the opponents, those not in favor of the application. Next, there will be testimony from anyone who wishes to offer testimony or ask questions. Then, to honor the right of rebuttal, we will again hear from those in favor of the application. To expedite the hearing, the commission members may ask questions of persons as they testify. When this process has been concluded, we will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. During the hearing, some important rules apply. During the hearing, some important standards apply. First, those who testify must hold their testimony to the decision criteria. As in all land use hearings, there are a complete set of rules, procedures, and criteria we must follow. Second, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission members and the parties an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes an appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Third, the failure of an applicant to raise constitutional or other issues relating to proposed conditions of approval with detail specific enough to allow the city to respond to the issue precludes an action for damages in the circuit court. Fourth, prior to the conclusion of the public hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional evidence, arguments, or testimony regarding the application. If such a request is made, the law states the commission must grant the request by either continuing the hearing to a time and date at least 7 days from the date of the initial hearing, or the record must be kept open for a period of at least 7 days. These are the rules. Are there any questions? Okay. Have any members of the commission had any ex parte contacts, conflicts of interest, or bias which prevent you from rendering an impartial decision on this matter? Commissioner Pena?
No.
No. Commissioner Popoff? No. Commissioner Portella?
Nope.
Commissioner Aparicio?
No.
Okay. I have not either. Does anyone in the audience wish to challenge the qualifications of any members of the commission? Okay, a resounding no. The public hearing is now open. May we please have the staff report? Thank you, Matt, for your patience.
Chair Cornett and members of the commission, I want to introduce Matt Hasty, who's been our consultant on this project. And Matt's involvement in this project predates my arrival at the city. He was involved quite a bit with a lot, and he'll give you some history about that with the formation of this buildable lands inventory for employment land. He had a technical committee, a public advisory committee, and quite a few meetings. And my predecessor, we just didn't have the scope in the budget to get it adopted. And then I arrived and I needed an update. So we took a little bit of time prior to getting it adopted, and really pleased with the result. This work is good work. We want to get it adopted. After some discussion in 2021 with both the Planning Commission and the City Council, it was decided we should adopt it and get it into our comp plan. So here we are, and take it away, Matt Hasty. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Alice. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to take us through a fairly brief PowerPoint this evening. So just give me 1 sec to do that. All right. Can everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So good to be here tonight. Nice to see you all. Folks I've seen before in previous presentations and others who I haven't. So kind of background, Alice really kind of covered all this just a moment ago. This work was completed over the last couple of years. The work was done in a couple phases with Bridge Economic Development, covering kind of the first phase of work, and that was really all about future projected employment needs and associated land needs. And then Angela Planning Group, which is now actually kind of like my former firm. My former firm merged with another firm, and I'm now MIG. So I'll say MIG APG. We worked on the buildable land side, so kind of the supply side with the city. I'll talk about just some of the community engagement efforts we had that Alice mentioned a moment ago in just a moment, but quite a bit of that. And then subsequently had some discussions with the Planning Commission and the council. Again, Alice talked about that. And now we're kind of back in front of you to adopt the updates to the comprehensive plan and then these other supporting documents. So I'll kind of take us through that. I'm really going to focus primarily on kind of the policy side of things. But in terms of just kind of the engagement we had, as Alice said, we had advisory committees. There was an advisory committee both for the first phase of work that Bridge Economic Development conducted, and then again, pretty much the same committee we worked with on the buildable lands inventory side. There was a lot of kind of stakeholder coordination and separate meetings and conversations with folks. I was less involved in the first phase, but in the second phase, there was quite a bit of that. Conversations with landowners and other public agencies and community groups. So quite a bit of that occurred, as well as Planning Commission and City Council work sessions. Quite a bit of kind of iterative refinement of the results of the technical work. And then subsequent to that work, our firm helped with preparing draft kind of narrative for an update of the economic development chapter of the comprehensive plan and a set of updated policies. And I'll go over that in just a moment. That'll be kind of the focus of what I talk about with y'all tonight for adoption. So in terms of just a little bit of background, I won't read every word on this slide, but economic opportunities analyses and the economic development element of any city's comprehensive plan is guided by a lot of fairly specific administrative rules and statutes at the state level. And so they require cities to conduct this economic opportunities analysis. That's the work that was done in those first couple of phases to, again, identify projected employment needs and land needs, review your supply of buildable land, and then update the comprehensive plan policy. Make sure that you're designating adequate land and that you have kind of policies and strategies in place to support the findings from those earlier phases of technical work, and that you've got some implementation policies and measures in place as well. And one of the elements of the earlier work is essentially an action plan. So that's kind of the piece that addresses this requirement around implementation policies and measures. So that combined set of technical documents coupled with the comp plan, narrative, and policies addresses all of these state requirements. So there's sort of three things, again, that are being proposed to be adopted. One is the sort of basic comp plan narrative and the associated goals and policies. And then as supporting documents that would go into the volume 2 of your comp plan, the background documents, is the work I mentioned just a moment ago, the work by Bridge, which included that assessment of needs, the action plan, and then the buildable lands inventory work. And there was sort of a whole series of memos that made up that body of work. So in terms of the amendments to the comp plan, because it had been quite a while since this element of your comp plan had been amended or updated, a lot of the content is recommended to be updated. So essentially kind of almost all of the sections within the within the existing comp planners are recommended to be updated. I won't read all of those, but it's just about all of them. The thing I will focus a little more on are what are the proposed changes to the economic development goals. So there's one item that's recommended to be added, and the policies. And so there are a number of policies that are recommended to be updated or added, as well as implementation measures. So the next few slides, I'm going to talk about some of those specific amendments, because really kind of the policies are the heart of the comprehensive plan. And all the other stuff is important background information for you all to move forward and have reference, but the policies are kind of, in my opinion, where the policies and the development code are kind of where the rubber hits the road. So I'm going to kind of walk through those, not in a ton of detail, but in some detail. So in terms of policy statements, the first one really is being updated to talk about promoting and supporting diversification of the economy and growth in family wage jobs. The second one, just kind of updating it to take out references to the old EOA. And the third one, eliminating it because it's those executive orders have already kind of been addressed through other policies. So it's kind of no longer totally pertinent to the policies of the comp plan. Number 6, not relevant anymore given the nature of that site. So that one's recommended to be pulled. And then just some minor amendments to a couple of existing policies. I'll say that you've got a bunch of existing policies in the comprehensive plan that are still relevant. They still make sense. And we're just recommending some kind of minor tweaks to them. So in terms of kind of talking about commercial services and industrial zones, just kind of adding some language around making sure that those are supporting not just local area employees, but also customers and surrounding businesses, of allowing for some of that type of development in your industrial zones. And then just a couple of additional words to strengthen the last policy on this page about public investments and meeting not just future demands, but also existing demands of the community. And then a couple of additional policies on this slide. One, just kind of thinking about the fact that you want the Dalles to be a place that's livable and provides destinations for people that live there as well as visitors. And then adding some kind of policy level support around the Columbia Gorge Community College in terms of it supporting workforce development. So we thought that was an important thing to reflect in your plan policies. This one, existing policy number 20, was just about kind of streetscapes and places for interaction. And it said plan for it, but we wanted to say, hey, don't just plan for it, but actually implement it, make it happen in the policy. And then these number 23 is really kind of talking about developing employment uses that have some higher employment densities in the area and making sure that they're supported by infrastructure. The last one on this slide is about making sure that you've got a set of permitting processes that allow for business to expand or modify their sites without undergoing kind of the same level of review as new developments. So you have to kind of go through all the same hoops if you're just trying to use the site that you have. I think this might be the last 3 I've got to show you. But number 25 is about really making sure that you're encouraging things in your community that will attract workers, having the services that workers need. That's really kind of an important aspect in a lot of communities, and a lot of communities struggle to attract a workforce if they don't have the other types of community amenities and services that people need. And then 26 is just kind of about using land efficiently within the community for employment purposes. And then the last one is about supporting business incubators or other ways to kind of help startup businesses in the community. So just about all of these came out of that. Most of them came out of that first phase of the economic opportunities analysis, and some of them also came out of the buildable lands inventory phase. I think I am correct. That was the last one. So that's, again, a little more detail on the goals and policies that are embedded in the update, the proposed update to the chapter. And I'll just kind of stop there and see if anybody has any questions for me or for Alice.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Matt.
No problem.
Does anyone have any questions or extra thoughts for Matt or Allison, this and specifically to the staff report? I've read through this pretty good. It came out almost a week ago, so I had plenty of time to look at it. Again, this is another thing that we've kind of talked about a few times and have been warming up to, so that's good. All right.
I want to make a comment that this is having all of the data updated is really important as well. It's kind of nothing worse than looking at a comprehensive plan and realizing it's 20 years old, and I'm really grateful that we have updated data. The bummer is it's just like all things, it's pre-COVID, so some of the economics dynamics have changed, but I feel like our economy is ticking back in a positive way. So hopefully we'll be back where we were in 2019 soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. We're on our way. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. My brain is struggling today. Does anyone wish to testify in favor of the application? If so, please state your name and address for the record. This is not the commissioners. This is anyone of the public's. Okay. Does anyone wish to testify in opposition to the application? Okay. Does anyone wish to testify that are not in favor of or opposition, or that would like to ask questions? I also know that we're pretty much talking to ourselves here. Is the commission ready for deliberations? Commissioner Portela, do you have all the info you need to make sound judgment?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Commissioner Aparicio, are you comfortable with all the data?
I am.
Okay. Commissioner Popoff, are you ready for deliberations?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner
Yeah.
Pena, are you all set for deliberations as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay, me too. With all that being said, the public hearing is now closed. Commissioner Pena, do you have any, this is amongst ourselves, do you have any thoughts, any comments or anything prior to making a motion?
I don't have any comments. I think it's a really well-written document.
Excellent. Thank you. I didn't write it, but thank you on behalf of those who did. Commissioner Popoff, any further questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Aparicio, do you have anything to add?
No, my only concern was the pre-COVID conversation. I appreciate that. That was already addressed. So yeah.
Excellent. All things are a work in progress, so we'll see how this continues.
We can only hope COVID doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Commissioner Portela, are you ready to make a motion?
I am.
Okay. If anyone would like to make a motion, the staff recommendation for the motion is on page 7741 of 88 of your packet.
I move to recommend that the Planning Commission moves the recommendations to City Council. The approval of the comprehensive plan amendment number 5322, adopting text amendment of goal number 9 and approval of the EOA and BLI. The documentation attached here as adopted findings, including in the staff report and any additional changes from the commissioners at the, it's not April 22nd of today's meeting, so May 19th meeting.
Second that?
Okay, that has been motioned and seconded. All in favor of approving the motion to recommend to the city council the approval of comprehensive plan amendment number 53-22, adopting text amendments to goal 9 and approving the EOA and BLI as ancillary documents attached herein and adopting findings included in this staff report at the May 19th, 2022 hearing. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
All not in favor, say nay. And those who abstain, we have all voted, so there are none. And that concludes that section of the agenda.
Yay.
Mr. Hastings, thank you again. Mr. Hasty, thank you again for the work on that and all the work you do for the city and the staff and our code changes.
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, thanks for having me. And
So I want to make a comment before Matt signs off. Matt will be working with us again
Oh, good.
on adopting the housing needs analysis that we finished it in 2017, but didn't adopt it. In this case, Matt and his firm will update the data to make it more current because 5 years have passed. And that we're really looking forward to that project. And reason why Josh and Caitlin are here tonight, besides being part of the audience that is non-existent otherwise, is that they will be helping with this project and leading this project and working with Matt Hasty. So we're really looking forward after our budget is approved, July 1, being under contract and moving forward with Matt's leadership.
And just quick,
you
out of
haven't-
curiosity, is that something that like should be done regularly, kind of like this?
Yes,
Okay.
we were ahead of the game. I think a lot of people were bragging about us back in 2017 for doing what we did. Then it became state law and then we weren't so special. So
Right.
we're required in 2025 to adopt something like this
Okay.
by 2025, and we will be ahead of the game. So that's good news. Did you want to add anything, Matt?
Just I'll look forward to seeing you again before too much longer. So yeah, thanks again.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt.
All right. Bye-bye.
Well, I have a few updates for you tonight if you'd like. Chair, I can roll through these quickly if you'd like.
But yeah, please do.
This is the project update section of the agenda, which we moved to the end. I wanted to let you know, many of you attended the town hall meeting in April. I think it was April. Yeah, it's a little bit blurry to me now. Had a lot of things going on in my family life during that period. But we had great attendance at that meeting. And then we had a follow-up community survey, and we had about 600 responses on that one. It was incredible. So very pleased with the interest we've had in this community around this project. We did wait to wrap everything up and get it back in front of the council until after our new city manager arrived, and he arrived on Monday. So top man. But anyway, we're going to meet with our consultant with our new city manager next week, and then hope to have a draft and a discussion and potentially an adoption of the plan at the end of June. So I think it's the June 27th city council meeting. So stay tuned for that. We'll bring information back once it gets adopted. I think our city manager is going to use this vision as a springboard for identifying priority projects that are citywide for the council to work on. And many of those will likely involve your input, and look forward to all that's to come with this important project. It's a plan we update every 10 years, and I was just blown away with how much interest we had. in a time when things were kind of shut down and quiet and during the winter months. So very pleased, and thanks for all your interest and participation as well. So I also want to share that, well, something about our city manager, Matthew Cleve. Some of you know him. He is someone who is very interested in our business. So I don't know if he'll be at these meetings very often, but trust me that he'll be involved in our work a lot and will be giving us direction on planning initiatives, because that's an interest of his, and he's had some training in that area as well. So stay tuned. It'll be an exciting time. Our urban renewal agency approved a package of new development incentives on Tuesday night, and we think that this will generate a lot of interest for redevelopment projects in our downtown. And I expect next week, I'm already getting a lot of questions. Do you have an application form yet, Alice? And we don't. The next week, I expect that we'll have that released and we'll have some applications come in shortly. What have I heard about? I've heard about a lot of things. One of the development concepts that was presented on Tuesday night was from the owner of the Blue Building at the corner of First and Washington. So the building that sits north across the alley from the Granada Theater. That one it used to be blue and now it's gray, but it's still called the Blue Building. That building will be renovated with 12 new dwelling units, potentially some ground floor Washington Street facing coffee shop, cafe type uses. And then on the other side, there's a walkout basement, and there is a wish to put like a cider vault or a cider distillery down there. It's an old building. I was looking at the history. It was built in 1865 or something like that. And it's been through a few fires. And if you go inside the building, Josh and I have, and you can see some of the remnants of fire on the brick, in fact. So it's really, it's going to be a great project and a nice addition to our downtown. We have a few others like that. I happen to have gone in today to the recreation building that has been restored. We have 2 of the storefronts that have been updated, and those 2 will have an old-fashioned ice cream shop and a candy shop. And then some of you may know the business called the Apothecary. That business is going to move from next to Lilo's on 2nd Street into this space that's next to Granada Theater, between the ice cream shop and Granada Theater, just immediately east of the ice cream shop. And the yoga studio that's currently behind the Apothecary will move into the entire space. So it'll be a win-win for both businesses in our downtown. And I'm really looking forward. I was able to tour so you heard it here first. I was able to tour the ice cream shop space today. And Mr. Carpenter, who's the developer and will be the operator, he and his wife will be the operator of this ice cream shop. He brought a vintage Donkey Kong video game to the arcade section, which will be in the back of this store. So that has entered the city of the Dalles. I just want to let you know. You heard it here first. So I was pretty excited to see that. And he has a few other vintage things in that store as well. So there will be more projects like that. We have some interest on the Griffith Motors site, the former Griffith Motors site across from the Ace Hardware store, multifamily units, quite a few units there with ground floor retail. We've heard from a potential interest of a very large building in the downtown to put a natural food grocery store and a bakery and quite a few like massage therapists, multi-tenant building that would bring together folks that are interested in that, in wellness and health and that sort of thing. So exciting time. Stay tuned as this program starts generating more interest. You'll hear more, and I'll keep you posted. We have had a staffing change. Dawn Hurt left us a couple of weeks ago. That's left a gap, a big shoes to fill. Caitlin Cook, who's sitting behind me, is going to be running the Historic Landmarks Commission program. And I'm really excited about that and what she will bring to the program. So we're in a little bit of a transition. So our projects have slowed down a little bit, though next month we hope to be back. We will be back with current planning projects that'll be hopefully generate a little more interest. We were talking to ourselves this evening, but we'll have 2 public hearings. We have one for potentially for an RV park that's off of 10th Street, a new RV park. And then another one will be for a U-Haul. U-Haul previously came in, I think it was in 2019 and 2020 to, they had to get an extension to their original approval to get conditional use to operate their storage facility in this space that they are operating off of West 6th, which is right next to Coastal Farm. And I've forgotten the address.
Yeah.
But,
Used to be the Kmart.
yeah, you might know that. Yeah, it's the old Kmart site. So they are, have since, they're operating the site, but they've expanded beyond what they were approved for. So we caught up with them and told them they needed to come in for an official application to amend their conditional use. They'll be coming in for that, and you'll have a hearing here. And their application package is very complete and thorough, and it's taken us a long time to get here, but we're pleased with what they submitted. So we hope you are too. The other is for the RV park. We also, proud to say that the staff sitting behind me were really involved with rewriting the density code, which was the subject of our February meeting and the public hearing that was kind of difficult for everyone involved. We've amended our code, which will address many of those concerns that were expressed both by the applicant, but by all of you. We hope to be back here in June for a discussion item, not a public hearing. So it will just depend on our workload and our capacity in pulling everything together for a discussion. I'm hopeful that we can get there. That's going to be a very packed agenda. I try not to combine public hearings for development review with discussion, but we may just do this in the interest of time. I try also to stay away from having 2 meetings in a month. There may come a need in July, I've been told. There may be a need to have 2 meetings in July. So stay tuned for that as well. And then lastly, I wanted to say that we have a couple of members missing. Alan Easling, Commissioner Easling has resigned from our commission, and Commissioner Mosher is, he is awaiting reappointment. His term expired at the end of April, and he will be reappointed at the May meeting, the next meeting, next Monday at the City Council. Assuming that the City Council agrees with that. So we will have Commissioner Mosher back if it's approved by council, and then we'll have 1 vacancy. And that vacancy cannot be filled with anyone in the development community. So we are only allowed to have 2 folks, and that will be, with this new composition, will be Chair Cornett and Commissioner Mosher. So we need to bring someone who doesn't have any interest or involvement in the development business.
And that's a rule or that's an expectation?
No, it's a rule. It's in the code. We were out of compliance there. So we're bringing ourselves into compliance with these changes. And so that's what's happening. So I would encourage you to let us know as soon as possible if you can be here, because our quorum for now continues to be very important. And I don't know about you, Chair Cornett, but I love it when you're here in person. I know in the case of both Commissioner Pena and Cornett, you both couldn't make it, and you let us know that ahead of time. But it's nice to see you all. We had a nice social event with our our urban renewal board asked for a little meet and greet after with some cookies. Is that something that you all would be interested in? Because we haven't gotten to really know each other. And if you are, we would love to buy some cookies and have a little bit of social time after the next meeting.
I love a cookie.
We have a good baker that we know who can supply those to us.
Sold.
So what do you think? It sounds like Commissioner Pena and Chair Cornett, does that sound okay to you?
Yeah, sure. That sounds great.
Okay,
Yeah.
and Mr. Popoff, Commissioner Popoff?
Yeah, that sounds fine. You know,
Okay,
food's
great.
always a crowd pleaser.
That's all I have for you, Chair Cornett.
Okay, thanks, Director Canyon. And to follow up on what you said, I'm super frustrated that I did not make it in person to the meeting tonight. I was really looking forward to that, like over the past 2 years, and I'm just a little on the edge right now, so it's best I didn't come. Aside from that, everything's just going great. It's summertime.
Are there any other questions from commissioners about anything that's happening in the city or our work program or anything?
No, I think the what you just shared right now is very exciting from somebody that is, I've been here for 45 years and it's ever changing, but I hope this is going to be a really good change for our community and our kids and our community.
Nice. All right. Well, if no one else has anything to add, I will adjourn the meeting and thank you all very much for coming. And I look forward to seeing you in person next time.
Feel better soon.
That's right. I will. Yeah. All right.
You too, Maria.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
Bye, everyone.
Alex.
Meeting adjourned.
Bye.
Okay, bye.